Hello and welcome back to another action-packed edition of KHSTV Summer. As always, I'm your host, Sam Furr. This show we're going to be covering two hot topics in the community: renovations at Kingston High School and protesters in front of the Verizon building on Broadway. Stay tuned to find out more. Construction work has finally begun on the Kate Walton Fieldhouse at Kingston High School. The delay on renovations and additions to the Fieldhouse, which was supposed to begin in the spring of this year, are only a small part of delays to the project. The ambitious renovations entail the demolition of two buildings at the high school, the M.J. on Clifford Middle School addition and the Whiston Tobin Science Building. Remaining buildings will be renovated, and a multi-story addition will be added at the back of the high school. The Kingston City School District expected to receive state funding for the $137.5 million plan. However, due to a dramatic reduction in the availability of funding, the project has been extended by a massive 5 years, with the end slated for 2023. In order to stay on budget, the addition to the building has also received a 60,000 square foot reduction in size, or about 14%. Longtime school board member James Shaughnessy expressed his disappointment that the board did not have, quote, any inkling of this delay for a year and a half. District Superintendent Paul Padalino said that the changes to aid for the project were provided to the architects before the time of voting for the project in 2013, but Carl Thurnau, the planning coordinator for the State Education Department, said that plans for an aid schedule were not made until September of 2014. As the end of the project seems to move farther out of sight, our viewers should make sure to stay tuned for more news updates from the site of construction. KHSTV went to cover protests at the Verizon building right next to Kingston High School on Broadway. We spoke to Mayor Shane Gallo and County Executive Mike Hine.
As a matter of fact, this is a location, we only have one employee. At one point we had 17 here.
Wow.
Verizon hasn't hired anyone in Kingston in 15 years. Vios would give them an opportunity. So what happens here is this is the line switching in the division here, which actually affects all the telephone services hardline in the city. So I had a great aunt who worked here for several years under New York Bell, and that's why it's personal, because she ended up retiring with a very good pension as a manager, but it was then New York Bell. So you have Verizon, who literally has about 100 employees total here in Kingston, and if they don't invest in Vios, then we're going to lose all those jobs. So I'm here today to try to get Verizon to acknowledge how important Vios is for not only jobs and economic development, but it's very, very important for quality of life, education. As you know, my friend, you have a high school renovation project, $150 million, which cries out for high speed. You've got 721 film production down the street, cries out for high speed, fully occupied with film producers. You've got the hospital here poised to merge with Westchester Medical, crying out for high speed. You've got a community college that's behind the high school, crying out for high speed. Next year, we're going to be ripping up Broadway with a new streetscape, put in LED lighting, new sidewalk, etc. So Verizon has an opportunity to put the cable in the ground starting next year, so they could reduce their street cut costs astronomically. There's $500 million in the state budget that will facilitate implementing advanced technology. Requested the Public Service Commission have another hearing over here on this side of the river, not just on the other side of the river that they had on Tuesday, to make the demand that Verizon do the right thing. The public should know too, and you're listening and viewers should know, my friend, that Verizon hasn't paid tax since 2005. They've received 85% residential rate breaks since 2005. They actually have saved $1.8 billion in not paying taxes since 2005. So Verizon, shame on you. You're a public utility. You're supposed to provide a service. We've been paying for 30 years for the advanced technology like Vios, and if you're not going to put Vios in our community and throughout upstate New York, then give us a refund. Then give us the money to buy our new cell phones and our new technology. So those are all the reasons, my friend. I'm here for jobs, to make sure that Verizon, okay, does the right thing, putting Vios in our community for economic development jobs, health, safety, and welfare, public safety, education, technological initiatives, and all the things that are making Kingston move forward. Because if we don't get Vios, we're moving forward, but we'll run in place. So I hope that answers your question as to why I'm here today, and I'll be back again next week, and I'll continue the good fight for Verizon and for our city to ensure that Verizon does the right thing, and the PSC has the regulatory authority to make Verizon do the right thing.
Thank you, Mayor Gallo.
My pleasure, man.
I'm here with County Executive Mike Hine. What brings you here today?
It's really simple here. We are here supporting the workers at Verizon, first and foremost for a fair contract, but also with the understanding that broadband technology, something that's absolutely essential, it's like electricity in today's day and age, is not available for everybody in our community. And that's fundamentally unfair. If you are in the metro New York area, you have things like Fios and great access to high-speed broadband technology. But what Verizon is doing is, while they rake in record profits, they are disadvantaging our community and putting us at a competitive disadvantage as far as our businesses and our students and the next generation. And that's why we're here to simply say that's not acceptable. We're working with the PSC, the Public Service Commission, to make sure that this kind of broadband technology gets regulated just like a utility. Because in today's day and age, it is as important as electricity in our community.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much, Rob.
That's all for our show this week. Thanks so much for watching. Tune in 2 weeks from now for extended coverage of the Verizon protests and for our last show of the year.